The gentleman yields back. We now go to the ranking member of the full committee, the gentleman from Maryland, Mr. Raskin, for his questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Just a footnote to that recent contretemps. I was not remotely offended by what the gentleman from California said because I'm used to having all of my points misstated by him regularly. It was interesting, he said that I had accused the president of praising the Ku Klux Klan and the neo-Nazis. I never said that. I said he just made himself perfectly clear when he said there were very fine people on both sides. The fact that you can find him contradicting himself immediately thereafter and in other subsequent statements is just a reflection of how Donald Trump speaks. Sometimes China is his biggest enemy in the world, and when he was over in China, then he loved President Xi, and he adored him, and they're great friends, and so on. So that's Donald Trump. But I can't imagine any other president in American history finding very fine people on both sides of an anti-Semitic race attack like the one that led to the death of Heather Heyer. So I stand completely by what I said before, and I reject completely your insinuation that I've misrepresented the reality. All I did was quote Donald Trump's own words. Ms. Wiley, and I'll say one other thing. Very fine people on both sides. You know, to people in Charlottesville, that was a very painful thing. My sister and her family happen to live in Charlottesville. The Ku Klux Klan and the neo-Nazis gathered at the local synagogue. That's where they kicked off their attack on Jews and African Americans in Charlottesville. So some people might be able to roll their eyes at that and say, oh, well, later he read a statement that his staff wrote for him saying that he denounces racist violence, but he made himself perfectly clear. Ms. Wiley, have you heard any of these witnesses today cite any evidence that anybody was deceived or defrauded by the Southern Poverty Law Center, which is the whole heart of this attack on them? Did you hear one iota of evidence being offered that anybody was deceived or defrauded?
I have not, and we know as a matter of fact that donors continue to try to send money to the Southern Poverty Law Center and being blocked by
In fact, haven't dozens of them stood up to say, no, they weren't defrauded in any way. That's why they're supporting the Southern Poverty Law Center, because they've been so effective in going undercover to blow the cover on these racist anti-Semitic plots.
Yes, and I just want to note that, and because there was a representation made about the SPLC, that it worked with the Donald Trump Department of Justice providing information from its informant program in the first Trump administration. So that's why we were so concerned to hear that denial that they had knowledge that the acting attorney general had to retract. This is something that should concern all Americans because no Department of Justice should be behaving this way.
Yeah. Well, you know the not-for-profit sector very well. It seems like now one of the lines of attack against the SPLC is that the people who work there make too much money. I just went online and checked out some of the salaried executives of the right-wing groups that we're not having a hearing about today, like the NRA. Wayne LaPierre was making $1.2 million when he was there. You could look at the Heritage Foundation, which in 2023 paid its president $953,000, I think 3 times what they're talking about there. I imagine being the CEO of the Southern Poverty Law Center is a lot more dangerous than being the president of the Heritage Foundation. Just very quickly on that, is there anything to this, the idea that the work of the Southern Poverty Law Center should be trashed and derided and dismissed because the people who go to work there in Alabama are being paid too much money?
Well, certainly not. And I think the point is the way in which the Southern Poverty Law Center is providing free legal services, for example, to a black community that it has developers coming for land and they won't benefit from the land, for food assistance programs, to make sure that a mother who has a disabled child, 5 years old, is getting the disability services the law requires. That is what is happening with donations as well, and we are not talking enough about the work that civil rights organizations do, including SPLC.
Well, let's talk about that, because to listen to some of your co-panelists there, you'd think that there is no extremist hate violence taking place. What about the AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina, where Dylan Roof, who was charged up on white supremacy, went out and killed 9 people? How about the Tree of Life Synagogue, the worst anti-Semitic attack in American history, where Robert Bowers who was consumed with white genocide replacement theory, which we hear from even more mainstream conservative groups, killed 11 people. Is racist violence, in fact, some kind of myth made up by the Southern Poverty Law Center?
No, and the government's own data demonstrates that. But also, if you look at...
The gentlelady can answer the question, but not go on beyond that. The gentleman's time has expired.
Thank you.
Thank you.